Small Business Committee.
Exactly how important this election is and the choice that's before us. I do want to thank my team that is here. First, my parents who brought me to Wellington in 1986, Tom and Linda McGovern are here. The forever mayor and the forever first lady, Tom and Regis Wenham, are here with me. Wellington would not be the place that it is today and the great place that it is going to be without the ongoing and daily service of Tom and Regis Wenham. If you ask me who's the example, they're the example. I want to thank our commissioner, our county commissioner who has fought tirelessly for Wellington, Commissioner Melissa McKinley, who has served valiantly for almost 8 years representing the interests of Wellington and the Western communities. I want to thank her for being with me today. I want to thank my law partner and my legal assistant from McGovern Girardi Law who are here. This is a labor of love being on the Village Council because everybody who does it has another job. And it's meant to be that way. It's the essence of citizen government. But it cannot be done without core supporters back at the office who are there to make that possible. So I want to thank Christina and Kelly for being with me today. And lastly, I want to thank my rock. Many of you know her as the better McGovern, the stronger leader McGovern, the more likable McGovern, my wife Michelle McGovern. Thank you, honey. You know, I've been asked a lot over the last couple of days, why am I running for re-election? And I'm running for re-election because Wellington is personal to me. I grew up here. It shaped who I am as a person, and I've come back here to raise my children. And I'm running for re-election because I will do whatever it takes to keep Wellington our great hometown. My experience, judgment, leadership make me the most prepared and qualified choice to ensure that our village stays great and continues to improve. And that's the key, stays great and continues to improve. I've seen our village evolve over the last 40 years into one of the safest, happiest, most fiscally responsible communities in our state. So we need to work together. We need to make strong decisions, make the right choice in this election, and keep our community moving forward. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Most of you already know me. I've been very active in the Wellington Chamber of Commerce for many years as a member, as well as the past president, treasurer, secretary, on down the executive chain there. Johnny Meier, and I am running for seat number 3. And I want to thank my team that's here with me today. Earl, he's my partner at Pharmacana, Marianne Frank, Sarah Baxter, my consultant, Anthony Maloney, Jim and Stacy Summers for always sticking out with me and then going and putting up posts in the middle of the night, the other night, at 12:01 a.m., John. In either case, Monica, thank you for always being there as well with me and doing all my videography. Unfortunately, my wife couldn't make it today. She's at Alzheimer's Research Institute where she works and does very important work. So unfortunately, she couldn't be here today. My kiddos at Wellington High School enjoying her senior year. So it's me and my team today is who you get, which represents us very well. First of all, who am I? I'm a dad first and a husband second, and I'm a business owner third. And I think that's a very important piece to this puzzle as far as how our council evolves, changes, and shapes the rest of our lives here. Not only do I own my community pharmacy, but I also own 2 other businesses here in the village of Wellington and 7 total outside of in total. I am first generation born here in the United States. My mom was a refugee from Vietnam, so I'm a product of the Vietnam War, and I'm basically the epitome of the American dream. My mom came here not knowing a lick of English and had nothing, didn't have 2 nickels to rub together, but she raised me and my older sister, and here's her hard work at work. I want to bring that same work ethic to the village of Wellington. And you know, I work with the community on a daily basis. I have over 6,000 people that come through my pharmacy every single month that I listen to, that I talk to. So I feel like I have a real good finger on the pulse in Wellington about the issues and the concerns of our residents. So even though I'm a very busy guy, as you could probably assume, I have an incredible staff, incredible team behind me that allows me to do things like this and serve our community. Like John said, this is the epitome of civil service, in my opinion. So there's a whole bunch of issues that I want to tackle. I don't know if this is the time for that because I only have a couple minutes, but since John took over his time, I'll go ahead and
All right. Okay. So he's going to give everybody a 5-second warning, right? Okay. So we can stick to that. All right. Our first question will start with Ms. Morris Clark, C2, and then it will go to each one down the line. The Wellington Chamber is a boutique organization catering exclusively to our Wellington market. If elected or re-elected, what are your plans to support this chamber?
Been a regular attender and supporter of the events at the Chamber of Commerce in the entire time that I have been on the council. But I take a little bit of a different view. I think that, as Mr. Nelson pointed out, we are well served in the Western communities by 2 chambers of commerce, the Wellington Chamber of Commerce and the Central Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce. And the Central Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce has a larger, more regional focus. What distinguishes the Wellington Chamber of Commerce, in my opinion, is its direct focus on Wellington. And I would challenge the chamber to come back to that specific mission, to focus on Wellington and Wellington business. And I would love for them to be a liaison to me in that particular regard. And also remember, the new driving force of small business in Wellington is home business. So I hope that the chamber will reach out more and more in the coming years to home businesses, because that is a core economic driver here in our community. Thank you.
Yeah, I fully disagree with John's statement as far as excluding anybody outside the chamber, and I believe that the inclusivity that the chamber offers is what makes us a great chamber. So, in my opinion, I think that there are more businesses that need to be included into the chamber. I think that we need to be recruiting heavier in order to get more bodies in and do some more things with sponsorship. You know, it seems like the same sponsors sponsoring events over and over and over. So I think the chamber, we can do a better job as far as getting more businesses active in the sponsorship levels and doing more events. And I think that the village, as Tanya had mentioned, has done a pretty good job partnering with the Chamber of Commerce, but there needs to be some more cohesion there. So I think that being the past president, as previously mentioned, I think that I can make sure that that's achieved.
Our next question is directed first to Mr. Nelson, C2. The Village of Wellington has several boards and committees currently, including the Architectural Review Board, Public Safety, Parks and Recreation, and everything in between. Would you be in favor of adding a small business committee?
I think that we have to be careful to just have committees for the sake of having committees. For me, the Small Business Committee is the Small Business Committee of the Chamber or the Executive Board of the Chamber. And likewise, the Executive Board of the Central Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce. Those business leaders have a finite amount of time. They're already serving on committees and boards, and what we need to do as village leaders is interact with those groups. If there's going to be a specific definable mission for a small business committee in and of itself, I certainly would support that. But what I think we have to do, what we have to challenge ourselves to do, is to continue to interact and engage with the committees that exist, that have very hardworking members on them now, to further facilitate communication between them and giving them specific missions and ways that we need their assistance in government as it currently exists. I think the Chamber Board and the Small Business Committee are already doing very good work.
I definitely think that there should be a small business committee because I think as the small business candidate and a small business champion, the small businesses here don't really get too much of a say-so. And yes, you have a Wellington Chamber of Commerce, and yes, they have an executive board, but even then, they're not strong enough. So in order to change things on this council and within this village, so I think a small business council or a small business committee would be imperative, especially to save like the Lake Wellington Professional Center that's being proposed to be knocked down for a resort-style pool. So I think that should be the very first mission for this small business committee. All right.
And C2. What would be your ideal vision for the direction of the mall at Wellington Green?
Well, I was wondering when we get to the mall.
Thank you. When I first joined the Village Council in 2015, the very first meeting that I had at my request was with the owners of the mall. The mall is the single biggest issue that confronts our community. The mall is in receivership, and we need financial partners with vision to bring forward a reimagined mall and mall space. That space has been studied by the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council at our request, along with the entire 441 corridor. And the fact is, it's larger than Atlantic Avenue, it's larger than Clematis. What could go there has much potential. But the role of the Village Council is going to be to have stakeholders at the table and then to set in motion through zoning, through various permissions, what can happen at the great vision of private business, because they are the ones who are going to come and fund that. And that is what we're going to facilitate.
Great question, because that's been on everybody's mind as far as what's going to happen with the Wellington Mall. And I just actually met some of the leadership. Thank you, Megan, for introducing us, and we're going to discuss further some different things that I have in mind once I win my council seat, because there are things called public-private relationships and partnerships that the government can do more with, and I've seen them all over the country happen. I've built pro formas for people, even though it's in receivership. Wells Fargo just wants their money. They don't care how it comes out or where it comes from. And I can build pro formas and do workout agreements to show different projects in different places. One of the leaders of the Wellington Mall was just telling me he's from Chicago and has a perfect plan that happened there that we can just transplant here, put on paperwork, and make happen here at Wellington Mall. We just do not want it to go dark. I don't know if anybody knows about Plantation Mall down there that was dark for 15 years and became an eyesore and an issue. We don't want that here.
Question will start with Vice Mayor McGovern. C3. Learning from what happened with the latest pandemic, if we were to have another one, what would be your plan to keep small businesses in operation?
I think that the village has done amazing work in its COVID response, and that is in no small part due to the yeoman's work put in by the 5 members of the Village Council, our emergency management team, our village manager Jim Barnes, who is here, and his team. The fact is that when the pandemic began, we immediately went to small businesses and talked to them about what can we do to help you stay open. We created a certification system that said they were COVID compliant. We went to restaurants and talked about immediately changing our zoning so that they could come outside and have tents at places like Ollie's, Kalou's, other restaurants, Agliolio's. That is what village government at its best can do. The large thing we need to do going forward, though, is enhance and change our telecommunications and enhance our cell service in this city. That is what small business next needs us to do, such that if there was a pandemic or a hurricane, that would make the difference.
First of all, I would make sure that government isn't telling which businesses are essential, which ones aren't. I believe that all businesses are essential. So That will be in the next, if another pandemic, God forbid, occurs, making sure that all businesses can stay open and aren't required to shut down or told to close down. I think that there are government assistance programs for businesses that do take a hit if this happens again. So we would work closely with those businesses to make sure that they apply and get the funds that are necessary in order to get them over the hump for the course of that pandemic.
Thank you. I'm not sure which business is listed.
Last question. I'd like to direct this to the incumbents first, then our challengers, beginning with, since we just started with Vice Mayor McGovern, I'll start with Councilwoman Siskin, seat 2. What is your biggest accomplishment in the last 2 years as far as what you have done to support Wellington small business? And for the challengers, what is your biggest accomplishment? What is your goal for small business in Wellington, and what is your plan to support that goal?
So, like I said,
What I'm most proud of in regards to small business really is in regards to all business. And first of all, it should be noted that I am supported by the business community in Wellington, from the hospital to our equestrian farms, to Mark Bellissimo, to Jeremy Jacobs, to Melissa Ganzi. Those are the folks that are supporting me for re-election. And why is that? Because in the time that I've been on the council, we have done things that have made doing business in Wellington easier. We've moved to electronic permitting. We have updated and simplified our codes, our land development regulations, the comp plan. We have made it readable and doable for regular people, including small business. And the fact is, that's what we're going to continue to do. When I talk about working on addressing telecommunications and connectivity issues, that is because we want businesses, including home businesses, to thrive here in Wellington.
It's a pretty simple arithmetic here. More business is more revenue is better amenities, and updated amenities. So, as the small business proponent here, unfortunately, we have a terrible reputation for new business owners to come into our village and do business. I hear it all the time. A chiropractor friend of mine is still paying rent in her facility that she still hasn't gotten her occupancy license for 6 months. The left hand does not know what the right hand is doing in this village, unfortunately. So that red tape needs to be cut. My proposal is to assign a liaison person on staff to work with every single new business owner, from soup to nuts, from the time that they make their application to the time that they open their doors and make their first dollar. Helping that person all the way along to make sure that they get all their inspections in order, to make sure that they have every single checkbox checked so that they can get open and do it quickly. So that's my proposal.
Are equally central to Wellington's future. We need to assist them and make them thrive. We have put in place policies to do that, and we will continue to do so. And that is why all sides of equestrian, Mark Bellissimo, Jeremy Jacobs, Melissa Ganzi, the Global Equestrian Group, all support me. Big business, small business, support McGovern, Bainbridge, Wellington Regional, Family Chiropractic, Ollie's, Don Chepo's, DCA, Boynton Financial, many, many realtors. These folks are the core businesses of Wellington, along with so many folks in this room that have supported my campaign. We need to keep Wellington on the right track and build upon that. My opponent says that the degradation under the current council risks Wellington quickly devolving and becoming Detroit, South Chicago, or God forbid, New York City. Every person in this room knows that that is ridiculous. Wellington is, we've just done a survey. Wellington is 90% loved by residents. 94% would tell other people to come and move here. What we need to do is build on the policies that we have going forward. And that is why I have every major endorsement in this race, including the Palm Beach Post this morning that said the choice is easy. Vote Montgomery. Thank you so much, and I look forward to working with all of you.
So, the people of Chicago, the people of Detroit, the people of San Francisco, Austin, all those towns have something in common. They were all nice to live in, and 94% of the people 20 years ago would have said, come move here too. But there's a problem with leadership in every single one of those cities. And so I stand by what I'm saying. With this particular leadership, spending money haphazardly is part of the problem. Same problems that happen in those cities. And if you want to live in one of those cities, keep voting the same way you do, because voting has consequences. I want to stop the wasteful spending. I want to include transparency in every single dollar that we're spending. And, you know, he's very proud of his endorsements. I don't want any of those endorsements, because to me that smells of corruption. That smells like a bought and paid candidate, in my opinion. But let's get to what I want to do here. I want to increase safety. The speeding is out of control. I have a person every single day coming into my pharmacy telling me about somebody running a stop sign or doing 70 miles an hour down Forest Hill. In fact, when I was coming here, I got a phone call from somebody in the room that said a woman just drove up behind her thinking that she was going to get hit, rear-ended, and then drove around her, giving her the bird, and just crazy, chaotic. So we need to work closer with PBSO. We need to give them more resources. We need to get more troops on the ground to make sure that our city is safer. I want to lower our taxes. I mean, everybody on this council is doing a victory lap about keeping our millage rate the same, which is fantastic and all, but I want to lower it because our home values went up. So since our home values went up, you're still stroking a check for a higher amount. So if we're fiscally conservative, there's no reason to stroke a higher check. So let's keep our seniors here. Let's make sure that they don't have to move out of state or out of town because they can't afford to live here. And then balance with the equestrian, green space, and development. There has to be a balance because one feeds the other.
Thank you so much to our Small Business Committee, and thank you so much to all the candidates for joining us today. We wish you all the best of luck on March 8th.